as Ukraine continues to plead with the world to send them fighter jets. But a recent tiff between the U.S. and Poland over providing MiG jets to Ukraine shows there are limits to what the U.S. and NATO are willing to do to help in this war.
The decision to deny sending Polish jets to Ukraine came down from Biden himself, who vetoed the move to avoid provoking Putin and risk escalating the war. Now, with Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby saying in a statement that there's, quote, no substantive rationale for it, and that Poland's proposal to send Ukraine MiGs is not a tenable one. But let's bring in our panel to weigh in. We have Amy Tarkanian, former Nevada State GOP chairwoman, Ken Timmerman, who is on the National Security and Foreign Policy Advisory Board under Trump, and our own Dick Morris, a former advisor to Presidents Clinton and Trump and host, of course, of Dick Morris Democracy here on Newsmax. Great to have you guys in tonight.
All right, let's get started. The language Biden repeatedly uses, Kim, both in tweets and in rare public moments, only seems to escalate and even demoralize Ukrainians. And there's also can be, signs of weakness here. We also see Kamala Harris on the world stage as well, Ken. When you look at this administration and how they're trying to involve themselves, are they helping?
No, they're not helping. And frankly, Biden, not just through his weakness, the weakness in Afghanistan and the weakness that you just mentioned vis-a-vis Ukraine, has really just demolished our position as self-sufficient in oil. One of the first things he did, and I know we've talked about this a lot on this show, but one of the first things he did coming into office was to shut down our pipelines and our access, our production in this country, and to open up Russia's exports to Germany. That really sent a green light to Putin. I hate to say it, but it sent a green light to Putin. The second thing that sent a green light to Putin, and I wrote about this in Newsmax magazine in December, was when the Russians did their first dry run of this invasion earlier last year. We were saying, Biden was saying from the White House, we are going to defend Ukraine militarily. The Secretary of Defense said the same thing. And I was sitting there scratching my head saying, wait a second, since when has Ukraine been a member of NATO that's going to trigger our Article 5 commitments? It was a kind of provocation that you do not issue as President of the United States unless you mean it. Clearly, Biden did not mean it. And when you make a threat that you do not mean, that is you're basically putting forth you're putting forth weakness. You're showing that you're weak.
And also the messaging, continuing even to recently with the jets and whether or not they were going to go and not go, but also, refusing the fighters. Many say Biden's just telling Putin, he doesn't have to worry about this, instead of, being more forceful, deterring Putin, that, letting Biden is sort of letting Russia kind of know what our hand is. And that's sort of been the downfall. Dick, I'll pose that question to you.
Well, it takes a Democratic bureaucrat to be able to parse the difference between sending a Stinger missile to a Ukrainian soldier to put it on his back to disable a tank, and sending an airplane to a Ukrainian pilot who can disable a jet by firing a missile. They seem to be pretty much the same thing. And Biden is absurd in trying to differentiate between the two. And when is he going to stop appeasing Putin? When is he going to decide he can't deter what Putin has already done and begin standing up against it? You can't give Russia complete air superiority over Ukraine and expect the poor Ukrainian freedom fighters to resist and hold out. And we have 90 MiGs that could go in there and deny Russia air superiority, give some support to the Ukrainian fighters, and Biden won't do it. It's absolutely absurd.
And Dick's absolutely right. We always see, Amy, here a reactive response from the Biden administration. Well, we're going to take away the most favored nation status because of this is what Putin's doing now. When are we going to see this administration be proactive to actually try to deter Putin?
That's an excellent question, because we also see him following in the steps of, say, banks and gas stations, with them not wanting to do further dealings with Russia. And then the Biden administration is not far trailing behind, trying to take the brownie points for that decision, even though these private organizations have already made those decisions on their own without the Biden administration having to tell them what they should or shouldn't be doing. And then also to further the perception of weakness is we have sent Vice President Kamala Harris, who is now the queen of sounding like a junior high student who's just written a dissertation on what she did last summer. And the fact that her response to one of the questions was ludicrous in saying something along the lines of "a friend in need is a friend indeed," and then her popular cackle is atrocious and embarrassing.
Yeah, platitudes and all that. That's not going to get it done here, not on the world stage. Amy, Dick, Ken, thank you all. We appreciate it.